How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. It's Monday morning, which means we get to look back over the weekend's games. There were wins for Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City, and there were defeats for Aston Villa and another defeat for Spurs.
How you doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So, like I said, it's Monday morning, which means we get to look back on the games over the weekend. Plenty of talking points, plenty of drama. But I don't know whether it's got that end of season feel. And I actually put a post out yesterday about this. And it feels like a bit of an anticlimax. It feels like top four's done. Relegation's done, and the only real thing to kind of look at is probably the title race. You know, where at one point we were looking like 3 teams in the title race. We were looking like a cluster of teams all fighting over Champions League and Europa League, and then a big bunch of teams all trying to avoid relegation. It's kind of just faded out and kind of been that anticlimax. But listen, we know what football's like. Strange things happen, and there could still be some twists and turns in the final couple, of games in the Premier League. But we'll go into the games. First one of the weekend was Arsenal against Bournemouth. 3-0 win for Arsenal. There will be talking points about this, and I've gone over them in my match reaction. Bournemouth should have had a red card within the opening 15 minutes. Should Bournemouth have had a goal disallowed? And should have Arsenal have had a penalty? I've gone over it so much. So if you haven't seen the video, go and look at my match reaction. Luton against Everton, 1-1 draw, and a point will not be enough for Luton. And that was actually the Friday night game. But yeah, it's just not enough. They needed the 3 points, to be honest. And I feel that that could well be it for Luton Town. They've had a fantastic season in the Premier League. Let's not make no mistakes about it. Everyone thought that they were going to get relegated at the start of the season. They were going to finish bottom. They were going to have less points than what Derby accumulated all them years ago. And they've made a lot of friends along the way. And I really do hope that, they go down. They are able to get themselves back into the Premier League and maybe do things a little bit differently. But yeah, it just wasn't enough for them. Brentford against Fulham, 0-0. Don't need to talk about that anymore. Burnley losing 4-1 against Newcastle. And that will pretty much confirm that Burnley are getting relegated. They've fought till the last, that's for sure. I thought they would have gone a few weeks ago in the same way that Sheffield United did. But some of their recent results have put them in a very good position. But that there just kind of all but confirms it. And over the course of the season, they can't really, moan about the position that they're in. So it looks like they're going back down to the Championship. Sheffield United against Nottingham Forest, 3-1 win for Nottingham Forest. Big 3 points for Nottingham Forest. That could be enough to see them saved in the Premier League. Sheffield United already relegated. So like I said, Nottingham Forest, that's a huge 3 points. Last game of the weekend, Manchester City against Wolves. 5-1 win for Manchester City. And what I will say is the first opening 15 minutes when Man City get awarded a penalty in the way that they did, it kind of just flattens everything. It's never, ever, ever, ever a penalty. And what's ironic is that I see more people talking about the Kai Havertz penalty than I ever do the Man City one. It's just absolutely pathetic. And that was kind of, the story of the game after that. It was just one-way street. Haaland scores 4 goals. Another penalty before half-time. But that first one set the marker. That was just kind of, gave them the early lead that they would have craved. And yeah, it's just really, really poor officiating at the end of the day. Going into yesterday's games, Champions League spots up for grabs. Brighton 1-0 win against Aston Villa. And Brighton fully deserved, to be fair. I watched that game and they were very, very good, and even had a goal disallowed before they scored the winning goal. From the penalty spot, saved, got the rebound. Aston Villa were very poor. And you're looking at that and thinking to yourself, wow, can Spurs capitalise going to Liverpool? And they didn't. And Spurs didn't even start playing until they were 4-0 down. Liverpool were very, very comfortable. And then, like I said, it was a nervy last 15 minutes. Spurs score a couple of goals. Then there was a moment where their fans will cry that they should have had a penalty because of a high foot. And if that would have gone 4-3, then you never know once injury time. There was 7 minutes of it. But yeah, not a great performance from Spurs. They might have, gave their fans a little something in the last 15, like I said. But it was just a very toothless performance all round. Chelsea against West Ham, 5-0 winners for Chelsea. Very, very comfortable afternoon. But one thing I will say is that West Ham actually hit the woodwork 3 times. Jared Bowen, in fact, hit the woodwork 3 times. So this scoreline could have been completely different if one of those goals would have gone in at a crucial moment and whatever. But as it turns out, Chelsea, they run out 5-0 winners, very, very comfortable. And they're putting themselves in the mix for a European place. Wow. Would you have thought it when the mess that they were in a little while ago? And I think that just shows how poor that kind of area of the Premier League's been. That a team that have spent most of the season in the bottom half can have a late run like they have and take one of the places. And yeah, I think that when you go below the top 3 this season, I think the standards have been very, very poor. The reason why Aston Villa are in a Champions League spot is not because they've been exceptional. It's because everybody else around them's been crap. And there's no real challenge in the way that there used to be. Manchester United, Chelsea, even Newcastle, etc. They've just been dreadful. So, yeah, it is what it is. Game tonight, Crystal Palace, Manchester United. Manchester United without Harry Maguire, what looks to be for the remainder of the season. Picked up an injury in training, so it's going to be interesting to see what Manchester United do. With no fit centre-back, says that, possibly Casemiro going in at centre-back, and they got Arsenal at the weekend. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. In terms of the table, what does it do? Arsenal top on 83 points. Manchester City second, 82 points. But they do have that game in hand. Liverpool 78 points. And they played the same amount of games as Arsenal. Aston Villa in 4th place, 7 clear of Spurs. Spurs do still have a game in hand. So it's still mathematically possible. I think if Aston Villa win at the weekend, then it won't be. And then that means Tottenham going to the game against Manchester City, not needing to win. Yeah, one of them ones. But Spurs will have to be careful, though. They will have to be careful because Newcastle are creeping up behind, 4 points behind. Manchester United, if they win, their game against Crystal Palace tonight will only be 3 points behind. Can make them play a little bit more for the game against Arsenal. Now, when you're looking at the bottom, Burnley, 24 points. They are now 5 points off safety. And with only 2 games to go, you've got to say that's pretty much it for them. Luton, 3 points off safety. With a really, really poor goal difference in comparison to Nottingham Forest. So you've got to pretty much say that's it. In terms of the matches, next up, Fulham against Man City, the afternoon kickoff Saturday. Interesting game to see whether, Fulham can do anything. Everton, Sheffield United, nothing game. West Ham, Luton. It's a big game for Luton. What West Ham will turn up. Bournemouth against Brentford, nothing game. Wolves against Crystal Palace, nothing game. Tottenham against Burnley. Yeah, Burnley has still got an outside chance, but it's done as far as I'm concerned. Newcastle, Brighton. Nottingham Forest, Chelsea. Manchester United, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Liverpool. That's a big game, that one, isn't it? And then we have some midweek games, which are the games in hand, and it's Tottenham, Man City, Manchester United, Newcastle, and Brighton, Chelsea. And then we move into the final games of the season, which are Liverpool, Wolves, Sheffield United, Tottenham, Luton, Fulham, Brighton, Manchester United, Man City, West Ham, Arsenal, Everton, Brentford, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Burnley, Nottingham Forest, and Chelsea, Bournemouth. So listen, that is it for today's DT's Daily. As usual, let me know in the comment section what you think about today's topics. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, smash a like on this video, and I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.